I'm here today to talk about how you can up your game in cybersecurity, both as an individual and a team. I'm here to talk to you about that because my background is in both marketing technology and in marketing. I've been a consultant for over 20 years in both areas, and both as a business owner at BJG Consulting, and I've currently been with Sephora North America, which is a subsidiary of Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, LVMH, and for the last 3 years. And I do need to clarify that I am here speaking only on my opinion and BJG Consulting, and not on behalf of LVMH and Sephora North America. So these are my opinions only. So I want to make sure that's very clear. But I'm speaking today about data privacy and consent. I am a subject matter expert on the area. I do advise on the legal area as well. Recovering entrepreneur, I like to say, although that's something that if you've been in that area, you know you never really get over it. That's not something that we ever lose the bone in our body. And you'll hear me say this repeatedly, but documentation is life. If it's not documented, did it actually ever happen? And in the area of cybersecurity, this is one of the most important elements, because if it hasn't been documented, then nobody can refer to it. So today we're going to talk about the importance of 360-degree security and individual habits, both at home and at work, because it turns out that your habits at home actually do impact your cybersecurity environment at your workplace as well. And it's not only your cybersecurity, but it's your coworkers, and it's your families, and it's your greater communities that you are impacting all at the same time. We're going to talk about security tool adoption and organizational security, and we're going to talk about how you need to have no gaps in defense, just like you do on the field. Because if you have gaps in defense, then you got leaks. We don't want leaks in cybersecurity, because the smallest leaks turn into very big problems very quickly. So the first part that we're going to talk about is knowing your role. It's very important all across an organization to have solid policies about cybersecurity. So that starts with who's in charge of what. Who really is going to be setting the cybersecurity policies? So how often do cybersecurity reviews need to happen? And is that a matter of annual reviews of every vendor? How often do vendors need to be reviewed for who are their security officers, and what are their security practices? What intake reviews need to be done before a vendor can be onboarded? And so that could be anything from a new media platform partner, such as a social media partner. It could be a new data partner. It could even be a privacy partner, someone like a privacy consent partner, because that still is a vendor that needs to go through a cybersecurity review and an information security review, as well as it would need to go through your legal department if you're a larger organization. If you're a small organization, an organization of one, organization of two, if you are an individual and you're thinking about, gee, what home security automation do I want? Or what home security system do I want? You should still be thinking about those same questions of, is this a secure company for me? Is this a secure platform that I actually want to give my information to? So these are, when we talk about policy, we're not just talking about like great big sweeping policies. It's about what application should we be thinking long-term, short-term, where are the risks, and who needs to be involved in these decisions at the very top level and then all the way down. And then who's in charge of change management? Who's going to enforce this? Who's going to ensure that all of this is going to actually be implemented? Who's going to ensure that everybody is educated on it? Who's going to ensure that business partners and technology partners and engineers and contractors and product and project managers and outside agencies are all on the same page and all understand what the implications are, what they're supposed to do, because everybody is responsible for cybersecurity. Your personal habits really are organizational habits. The example I like to give is screen sharing. Nothing is more horrifying than screen sharing in a meeting and watching someone type their password and seeing it. It's the simplest example of bad cybersecurity because it's something that we've all seen, or watching someone and knowing that they are looking at a sticky note on their desk and typing a security office sticky note. And you do need to call that person out gently, because we don't want to shame them and make an enemy out of them. The idea is that you want to educate kindly and gently, but that home habit is a work habit. If you are writing down passwords on sticky notes at home for your security system, your bank account, please don't write down passwords for your bank account. But if you're writing down passwords for anything, your home Wi-Fi network, then you might be doing that at work too. And if I, as someone who's responsible for ensuring enforcement for cybersecurity and information security in the workplace, am catching that you might be doing this in a personal environment, that makes me a little concerned that you might be doing it at work too. So this is all tied together, and we want to make sure that you're aware that these same habits are going to cross over. So these policies and the education should include all of this holistically across the board. And change management should include all of this as a concept. And the right tools are really part of this. I'm sure that we've heard this, all of us, ad nauseum, but people are always the weakest link in security. We get tired, we get lazy, we have password fatigue, we have tool fatigue. We've recently had this conversation in a large organization, but I've had this conversation even with individual solopreneurs who are just really tired of having to do, type in different passwords for every different platform. And, oh, well, can't I just use the same password for everything? No, please don't do that. That's not secure. That's not safe. They want to be able to remember their password for everything. Well, again, if you can remember it, it's probably not a secure password unless you have an incredible brain and you know more decimal points of pi than the rest of us can remember on a good day. So for the most part, you want to be able to ensure that your change management is taking into account, and that your tool selection is taking into account, the easy adoption. How many steps does it take for someone to log in? How many steps does it take for your SSL? How much does it take for somebody to actually sign into your VPN and make sure that they're actually logged in securely? Do you have regular feedback loops? Are you checking in with your staff and your employees? Are they annoyed with everything? Are they taking shortcuts to make sure that they don't have to log in 47 times because they keep getting kicked off of things and they're tired of it, and so they're skipping steps? Because there are ways around things. And if they're finding ways around your systems, you should find out what they are. Because if you've got clever engineers who are finding ways around your security systems, those are loopholes, and you should ask what they are, and you need to plug the loopholes. Those are good feedback to get from your staff. One of the reasons that I love Bitwarden, and I talk about it, my team members know this, my engineers know this, even my business partners know this, and I've been onboarding both individual entrepreneurs and larger companies as clients, everyone from small local mom and pop shops to multinational corporations for years, to Bitwarden. I use it personally, I use it for my company because it's so easy. Prior to using Bitwarden, I personally was using another password manager. And the reason I stopped using it was because it was just such a pain to maintain. It wasn't syncing across devices. It wasn't user-friendly. I love Bitwarden in a large part because it is secure, because it has such a phenomenal user-friendly app. It syncs across everything. It checks all of the boxes from a cybersecurity standpoint, and we have really stringent requirements from an enterprise standpoint, as most enterprise security should. And the plugins, if you're using it, I'm looking at Chrome right now. So if you're using it in Chrome, for example, there's a really great plugin that you can use. If you are using it in another environment, there are other plugins as well. So these are the types of things that you should be taking into account, especially the larger your organization is. How easy is it for teams to adopt, and how easy is it for them to continue to use it? How painless, how seamless. We talk about frictionless adoption, frictionless use, because we don't want people to get fatigued. We don't want people to stop using things. And with a simple tool in the use of it, like Bitwarden, you only do need to remember one good password. And most people can remember one really strong, solid password. And if you can do that, then what you can do is really build a strong culture around the documentation of access management and reviewing and ensuring that everybody knows that where you go in order to maintain that solid, strong credentialing around all of your platforms, and who should be in charge of ensuring access, identity and access management, as well as the strength of the passwords. And you can also then maintain the control over, especially if you're doing this at an enterprise or a company level, you can maintain the control over who can actually get to those passwords. Whereas if you have individual users creating passwords and then saving them in you don't know where, spreadsheets or wiki pages, which happens. I've seen this happen a lot, where you see passwords saved on Confluence pages or other documentation tools, just for the entire organization to see, which is probably not appropriate, because everyone in an organization probably doesn't need to see the password to a server or a media platform or any other vendor, right? This gives you the ability to better control that, and it's a part of the responsibility of the entire organization to ensure that only the people who truly need access to something have access to it. The more people who have access, the more likelihood that you're going to have issues. This really starts at the top. I love this photo because I've been this woman where you're just listening to someone going through. So you've really got to cultivate this culture of continuous improvement starting at the top. The leaders have to really drive this home, that cybersecurity starts at home, top down, and they have to lead from the beginning, explaining that everything from your own social media and your family's use of social media is a cybersecurity. It is cybersecurity. It's another reason that I love Bitwarden. And your individuals are your cybersecurity. Organizations really are only as secure as their members. And you got to never stop, never stopping. There's always room for improvement. Cybersecurity only increases in its complexity and its need as criminals and the opportunities for breaches increase. And that's where we all have to play our part, and we all have the opportunity to continue improving. Thank you.